terms of how today's presentations will go, we're going to start off here in a little bit with Bryan Berryhill, our cross-country and track and field coach. We'll have Coach Cuadrado from soccer, Coach Callihan from volleyball, and then Coach Ball from football. So with that being said, let me introduce our first coach of the day. Bryan Berryhill is entering his 7th season for Wyoming as the head cross-country and track and field coach. The cross-country team will welcome back 8 letter winners on the men's side, 7 letter winners on the women's side. And they're very excited this year to be hosting their own home event in Cheyenne at the Little America course. That'll be on Friday, August 31st. So at this point, I'll let Coach Berryhill give a presentation about the cross-country team.
Thanks, Tim. For the second straight year, I asked to be the closer of Media Day, and I find myself first again. So I see what's going on here. The weakest link goes first at the low, so we'll try to live up to that standard. But can't believe it's been a year since the last Media Day. We were up in the Wildcat area looking down on what was the initial building phases of the High Altitude Performance Center, and now it's pretty much complete. And what an amazing facility that it is. We can't wait to get our student athletes here to benefit from that. And for our own personal program, we're having big renovations to our locker rooms, huge improvements for us there, and some other big changes. Went to the school-wide Adidas deal, which I know we're all excited about. So a lot of changes, a lot of exciting changes this last year, and I think all of that kind of goes under that One Wyoming branding. It took a lot of people working together for the same goals to make all this happen. So excited for the year. Introduce my coaches that are here. Coach Clower is going to work with our women's distance runners and our cross-country team this fall. Been doing a good job. Coach Dahlberg, who we brought here a year ago, did a great job this past year with our men's distance runners. He's going to lead our cross-country team this fall. One thing Tim mentioned, we're going to host a home meet for the first time since 2011, so we're really excited about that. It's going to be at the Little America in Cheyenne. It'll be around the 9-hole golf course there. We've created a 5K that'll run around the perimeter of the golf course there, and it'll be a challenging but fun course. And that'll be August 31st. 6 and 6:30 will be the race times, and we're inviting all of the Division I teams from the state of Colorado, so Colorado State, University of Colorado, Air Force, and UNC. So it'll be an extremely competitive meet. Those are some of the best cross-country teams in the country. So hopefully we can get some people out there to watch it and make it an annual deal. After that home meet, we kind of have 2 teams going in different directions as far as our schedule goes. Our women's team is a little younger this year, a little less experienced. I used a Kevin McKinney quote last year. I might use one from Coach Callihan this year. He said something along the lines of, I talked about the roster, but you probably won't know their names. And we see that as positive. Coach Clower and I are excited about this group coming in. Very talented group of freshmen. We feel like we have a very talented group of athletes that have been with us now for 2 or 3 years that have kind of been overshadowed by some other runners that are really ready to get out there and emerge. So we have a lot of athletes that are going to push each other this year for the first time. We're not sure who our top 3 will be, but I think we're going to be a lot better depth-wise. So very excited about that. We'll start them off going to Nebraska and California to maybe a little lower profile meets to give them a chance to be competitive and learn what it's like to compete at this level. On the men's side, we're pretty excited there. We returned 6 of our top 7 athletes from a year ago, bring Ricky Ford back from an injury, and also Jonah Henry, who we redshirted a year ago. And those 2 are 2 of our most experienced athletes. So we're going to have 8 student athletes this year with a lot of experience at the Division I level, and 7 of those 8 hold all-time top 10 marks on the track for us in one event or another. So a lot of talent there. Also bringing in probably the most talented freshman class we ever have, the deepest class for sure. Our hope is we have enough veterans on the team, we can redshirt the majority of those kids, but maybe one of them will emerge and make that top 7. One guy that we are excited that we're adding, we have a transfer from CSU Pueblo, Paul Roberts. He was a couple-time Division II All-American at CSU Pueblo, and out of high school in Colorado, he was a 13-time state champion, and he was known as one of the best cross-country runners in the nation. He has represented the USA overseas for the IAAF Youth World Cross Country Championships, and we're excited to see what he can do for us. So a very experienced team there. That schedule is as competitive as we can make it. We're going to go out to Notre Dame for a meet. We'll be in Wisconsin for a meet, and hopefully that gets us ready for the Mountain West Conference Championships and the Mountain Region Championships. We're hoping not just to get some individuals to the NCAAs, but we're hoping for the first time since 1986 we can get a team represented at the NCAA Championships. That's definitely our goal for the season. So excited for both squads. Women's side, again, a little less experience, but a lot of talent there, and looking for them to grow through the year. And on the men's side, this is definitely the most talented team by far since I've been here, Wyoming, since 2012. And like I say, our goal is to make it there as a team for the first time since 1986. So excited about it, excited for the rest of the teams, and go Pokes.
Cuadrado is also starting his 7th season here at Wyoming. During Coach Cuadrado's career, he's led the Cowgirls to 3 straight 10-win seasons, which had never been accomplished before. Also a former Mountain West Coach of the Year, has taken the Cowgirls to the championship game of the conference in his career here at Wyoming. At this time, let's welcome Pete Cuadrado.
That's brave. We're in a white shirt with spaghetti served today, so made it through so far, so good. So, but first, I want to thank you guys for being here and start by introducing my staff. We have my four for the soccer staff, myself, including Bob Casper over there, Justine Tidings and Matt Calloway are our 4 soccer coaches here. And then we also have our 3 captains here in the back. They do a fantastic job. Annika Clayton, Britt Stark, and Taylor Berger back there in the back as well. And then, for us, I just want to talk a little bit about last year. We started out with a great beginning to our season. It was the 7th. I think at one point we were 7-3-1, 7-3-2. Had a couple road losses in overtime. The Baylor had a chance to win that game. It was an Elite 8 team. Kentucky in double overtime. So we had a great start to the season, and then we really ran into a depth problem where we just playing the same 14, 15 players as we were going through. With our sport being such a physically demanding sport, it took a toll on us, and we dropped 5 of our last 6. And that leads me into this year. For us, depth has become a strength of ours. For this coming fall, we've added 12 freshmen. Unfortunately, we had 1 ACL this week to one of our top freshmen, Jamie Tatum. But with that said, we can actually afford to have an injury or 2 this year. You don't want it, but it was something that I think would have crushed us in the past. And one person asked, what does it take to get over that hump? Because we've been close, competing, but we haven't been able to win that conference championship game. And I think for us, there's 2 things. It's one, the senior buy-in, and I think we have that. We have a tremendous group of seniors, 7 seniors, that are very dedicated, very bought in. In my 18 years of Division I coaching, I've never had a senior class sit me down and say, we want to know everything we need to do to get over that hump. And they did that a week or 2 ago. We had a great talk. We were very frank with each other. And that allows me to also go back to them and say, hey, you guys said you're going to do this when things start getting tough and it starts getting the grind. Maybe we drop a game. Maybe it's a tough game. Maybe it's a tough week of training. And say, hey, you guys said you wanted this. Here's how we got to get back on track and do it. So I think it's been a great group of seniors. I'm really excited about the fall that we have. They've done everything we've asked of them, and it's a great recipe. We have depth. We have great leadership. It feels like the perfect storm for this coming season. So I'm tremendously excited for this coming fall. With that, this coming fall, we still roll out our, the nation's longest non-conference home winning streak. With 333 Division I teams, we have the nation's non-conference long unbeaten streak. So for us, that's something we take a lot of pride in. I think it was 2013 maybe was our last non-conference loss defeat. So we're all about that, but we're also bringing in some tough teams. We bring in a Utah Valley team that's had our number. We've gotten them at home, but they've gotten us on the road. It's a tough team as well. We also bring in our first ever Big Ten team. Iowa is coming here this fall as well, and Wyoming soccer has never hosted a Big Ten team, so that's something we're really excited about. And we hope we do to them what we did to Kansas 2 years ago when they came in ranked and sent them home with a 2-1 loss. So looking forward to that. And then last, I just want to point out something that we take tremendous pride in. This last year we were just above a 3.4 team GPA, and I think that's tremendously high. For our women's soccer program. Believe it or not, it was actually a down year. Before that, we were above a 3.5. So we'll take it, and to be honest, I'm extremely proud of that and the work that they do in the classroom as well, being student athletes. For us, the Adidas deal is great. I know that's a hot topic. Being one of the, actually probably the top soccer company in the world. we're excited to be with them, and we're looking forward to rolling out some Adidas gear in a couple, actually next Wednesday when we start. So with that said, if there is any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. All right, perfect. Thank you.
Well, Cowgirl Volleyball had a very successful year last year. Cowgirls made their first postseason appearance since 1994. They also finished second in the Mountain West Conference, which is the highest finish in the history of Wyoming since we've been a member of the Mountain West. Entering his sixth season at Wyoming, Chad Callihan.
So, sixth season. It seems like yesterday that I was standing here in 2013 talking about that first team, and you guys were asking me questions, and I couldn't answer anything because I hadn't even been on court with them yet. You're asking Reese how she liked her new coach, and she couldn't answer because she hadn't had to spend a day on the court with me yet. So, fast forward here, time flies. I'm going to ask one thing. Have they ever asked you a question? Pete, have they ever asked you a question? No. You guys got about 3 minutes to come up with a question. All right? We're going to get there. This is going to be the year. We've got a couple of changes to our staff. Kendra Gillen joined us in January. Her latest coaching stop was at Liberty University. She's from the Eaton, Colorado area and played her collegiate ball at University of Washington. So she's been a great addition for us. Reese is still with us as the Director of Volleyball Operations again. It's been fantastic having her here, and having an alumni on our staff has been great. And Dan Georgalis is our other change. Same face, new title. We promoted Dan to Associate Head Coach in January. He's done a fantastic job for us through the previous 5 years, and we're excited to continue working with him. We've got 2 of our all-conference players here with us, with Jackie McBride and Tara Traffigan. We're going to be expecting a lot from them, no pressure. Year 6, we have tried to build this thing the right way, and I really think that we're getting there. I think we could have come in and maybe tried to make some wholesale changes and flip this thing pretty fast. But we've taken our time, and we've really tried to do it the right way. We've tried to make sure that we were competitive, but at the same time making sure that our players had a good experience. I think we finally reached a point where we feel like this team is probably fully loaded. This is the deepest squad that we've had. We feel like we've got some great pieces coming back. I think there's a lot of optimism around our team, and just to give you a couple of statistics, why we finished second last year in the conference. This team returned 77% of the digs from that team. They returned 97% of the assists, 99% of the kills, and 99% of the blocks. So great optimism there. I think that the thing that we have to be cautious of is all of those percentages are good enough to get us second, and that's not the goal. So we've got to find a way to continue to improve. Even though we've got all these pieces coming back, we need to make sure that we find a way to continue to grow, because we want to finish first in the conference, and we want to make the NCAA tournament. And that'll remain a goal for us as we continue on. I think we put together another challenging schedule. I think if you go back 4 years ago, you'll see that every year we try to go out and really challenge ourselves in the preseason. A couple years back, we were able to win quite a few of those, and it put us in great position to earn an NCAA bid. Last couple of seasons, we've struggled in the non-conference. I don't know if we overscheduled or we just haven't been able to pick up some of the wins that we needed. But the NCAA has made it just so difficult to make the NCAA tournament that if you don't go out and play a challenging non-conference schedule, then you're going to really struggle in terms of finding an NCAA bid when December rolls around. So we've gone out, we're playing 2 Pac-12 teams, a Big Ten team, a Big 12 team, an ACC team. We're going to go out and challenge ourselves. And I'd like to think that this team is prepared for that. I think we did that last year, and I think our youth was just, it was a little much for us. But I'd like to think that the experience puts us in a position to be able to not only go out and play those games, but I expect to go out and win them. And I think our team is prepared and ready for that. I think the conference is going to be as good as it's been. I think that the bottom half of our league has really done a nice job of improving. And I think that helps us as we do look for those NCAA bids. I think the RPIs as a whole will be higher, and I think that helps the top half. The downside is you've got to be prepared every night. You can't expect to have an off night in this league this year. Dan and I were just looking back, and I think it was the 6th toughest conference in the country out of 32, so we've got to make sure that we're ready to compete. It's going to be a grind, night in and night out. Big tournament to start at home. We're actually going to start over here in the arena, August 24th and 25th. And the marquee matchup there is probably going to be Colorado, but we're going to have our hands full with North Florida and Oral Roberts as well. So I hope that everybody has the opportunity to get out and support this team. I think it's going to be a fun and entertaining team. And I think that if things fall right, we can really make some noise this year. So with that, I'm going to ask if there's any questions.
Robert.
I got one.
Thank
I
you.
guess.
Dan's going to get you a gift card.
What's been just the biggest change with the new Adidas deal for your team?
Well, we're still getting our stuff in, but I think one of the biggest things is just going to be maybe the quantity that we're able to get. I think we're just going to be able to provide more for our team than maybe what we have in the past, and I think that they're going to enjoy that. And I think it's become a real identifiable brand. Adidas has been around for years, but I think that in the last 5 or 6 years, they've probably made some real strides that I think our players would tell you that they really enjoy. So I think it's a brand that they're going to take pride in wearing and enjoy. And hopefully it becomes a nice recruiting tool for us as well. Great question. Oh, we're rolling now.
All right. I talked to you this summer, Chad, and you talked about the benefits of going to Europe. What did you take away as the best experience for this squad?
For the squad, I think just getting the opportunity to spend 20 days together was pretty fantastic. I think that our preseason practice is so small. You think football starts today and they play August 25th. We don't start till August 8th and we play August 24th. So you take out our scrimmages and we only get 12 days to train. So the opportunity to pick up 20 days with this group, I think that was big. The NCAA changed the rule this past year where you could take your freshmen on that tour. In the past, you could never take your newcomers. So not only did we get to take our returners, but we got to spend 10 days in the practice gym with our newcomers, and then they got to go on tour with us. So they got to get comfortable with us. We got to introduce them to some of our offensive and defensive systems, and they really got to spend a good amount of time with our returners. So I think there's just a connection there that you kind of struggle to create sometimes in 12 to 14 days. So I really hope that gives us a leg up as we move into the season. And I really like to thank our administration and donors for giving us the opportunity to be able to do something like that, because I really do think it's a benefit. Great. Thank you all, and I just want to say thank you for all of the support that you give to our program. We really want to grow this sport the way we see it growing across the nation, and anything you guys do to recognize our program and our players, I think that's a benefit for us continuing to grow the sport. So thank you. Go Pokes.